Welcome to episode 246 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and Apple TV and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and my guest this week, Ben Reichig's here. How you doing, Ben?
I'm really good, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing great. And actually, I guess I can't really call you a guest anymore because you did officially come on as a regular contributor, and we appreciate that. It's going to be a lot of fun to have you on all the time, and appreciate it. And
yes, I have signed a 5-year, $50 million contract with 20 of it guaranteed.
Yes. So welcome aboard.
And when I mean 20, I mean 0.20 of a cent.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you won't be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. You won't be. So, and then Jeff Gamet's here. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing great. It's awesome to get to hang out with you. Ben, it's great to meet you. I'm looking forward to learning more about
you. Yes. And I think we have our guest for this week, Kelly Guimont, unless she's having some technical difficulties. How you doing, Kelly?
No more than normal. Hi, David.
Well, appreciate you being
here. Let
me
resolve some of those now.
Okay.
There you go.
The RevNats. But we got a lot to talk about this week. Beta keeps going on. We got that coming up here. Topics that we're going to include talking about the App Store stories. I found it to be interesting, and old iPhones, where do they go, and all that other fun stuff, and lots of news here. But speaking of news, let's jump right into the stories this week. And first story, and I knew this was going to interest Jeff quite a bit here, is T-Mobile did acquire both Mint and Ultra Mobile for prepaid services. They bought both companies. That's going to include to boost their prepaid cellular services. But they will remain primarily separate entities. So I think it's definitely going to help them out. And looks like the deal is going to be at about $1.35 billion. And good to see. And there's also an article we have in the show notes here, the video on YouTube between T-Mobile's CEO and Ryan Reynolds. It was kind of fun to watch there. But I know, Jeff, I'm going to start you off right away. You have thoughts since you just switched to Mint Mobile not too long ago.
Of course I have thoughts. First, just for people that are like trying to keep really close track of what's going on with the process, the purchase hasn't been completed yet. Right. There's still regulatory processes that they have to clear. Realistically, I do not see those being any problem. So I'm okay saying that T-Mobile has bought Mint and Ultra, even though they haven't technically bought them yet. But yeah, it's going to happen. Okay, so here's my first concern, even though it's a concern that they are addressing. What?
No, it's probably the same one I have, because I'm also a Mint Mobile customer, and this was probably the first thing that I wanted to know as soon as I got the email.
Which is what's going to happen to how much I'm paying for the service. And
they say $15 a month.
So if they truly do allow Mint and Ultra to continue to function essentially as independent entities, then I think it's likely that we'll see the current price structure stay pretty stable. Yeah. At least for a couple of years. I hope it stays stable longer than that. I think it's in T-Mobile's best interest to allow these MVNOs to continue to operate as MVNOs. And there's precedent for this because Verizon has purchased MVNOs before and has allowed them to continue to function independently, and that's working okay. If you like being on Verizon's platform. So yeah, as long as pricing stays the same, then I think this will be okay. I hope that they don't try and start rolling in other T-Mobile features. No, not features. Benefits.
Like having your data exposed to the internet 2 or 3 times a year.
It's like you read my mind. Yeah,
We've been friends a long time, sweetheart.
Yeah, yes, we have. And out on the internet, there are photos to prove that.
Yeah.
I can attest to this.
Yes, I think we all can.
Yep.
I will say, Jeff, in their press release, or like they have like a page on the Mint Mobile website, and like whatever the question is, because I went through and looked at like what do they think are going to be the frequently asked questions, and every single question, the end of it is your $15 a month mobile plan price will not change. And like, is the logo going to be different? Not at this time, but rest assured your $15 a month cell phone bill price will not change. Like all of them say that, and so my question was, I'm sorry, Jeff, were you?
No, you hit the other big concern that I had, which is protecting our data. T-Mobile does not have a good track record there, and knowing that Mint Mobile's data is maintained independently of T-Mobile's, I'm hoping that continues to be the thing, because having every few months to deal with my data being stolen yet again is not appealing.
Yeah.
My question is, what advantage this gives T-Mobile? And Ben, I'm glad you're here. Aside from, Ryan Reynolds not making a headline recently, and apparently that's an issue. Aside from that, I can't, I know they had also purchased another company, and I'm not sure what this gets T-Mobile, especially if they're kind of saying the same thing to customers of both of these companies, which is nothing's going to change. You're going to stay where you are. You're going to keep on keeping on. Then why would you buy them?
Well, I can actually answer that, or at least I think I can.
Awesome. And I'm curious what you have to say, because I'm wondering how close to correct I am, and I will base that on what you say. So no pressure.
Okay. If you look at T-Mobile's current prepaid division, Metro. While they are prepaid, they are very close in their operation to the mothership. They have physical stores. They offer T-Mobile perks.
Yeah, Metro does.
They're more or less just T-Mobile, but only prepaid. If you look at the way Mint has done it, they are a truly virtual mobile operator.
Right. They
have no stores. They offer no perks. All they offer is the data at a discount rate. Well, that has proven to be highly profitable.
Yep.
So T-Mobile being the network operator would know exactly what Mint's numbers are. Yeah. They're able to see how successful they are, and probably said, hey, number one, we get this customer base, and number two, we get a pretty good spokesperson with that customer base.
Yes.
Yep. No, it's definitely, they really wanted to expand on their prepaid business, and I think that's really what I'm thinking.
That makes sense.
This motivation of this is, yeah.
The hook kind of with Mint Mobile is that it's a prepaid operator, but they don't operate like a prepaid operator. They don't do like the shoestring budget and the weird accounts and the generally like a number of prepaid cell phone operators are kind of like the plan isn't very interesting. Maybe there's no data. You can't this or that. The immediate advantage I had, because the longer I sat and read this email, the more questions I came up with, which will shock all three of you, I'm certain, is that I wonder what this means for Apple Watches, because right now, if you are a Mint Mobile customer, Mint doesn't support Apple the data plan for an Apple Watch. So I wonder if maybe that will change. And my first thought about like what might be good about this is maybe we start getting some perks. Like if they want to just hand out free Disney Plus subscriptions, like I'm not gonna say no.
Put them on the T-Mobile Tuesdays, like Metro has.
Yeah, something like that. So, I can see ways that it would be good for me. I can see ways it would be bad for me as a customer of Mint Mobile. But I was trying to figure out what would make it good for T-Mobile. And if it's, we just expanded our user base by some dramatic percentage, then okay, that makes sense. I could see why that would be a thing. So
I have a hypothesis to add to what Ben was saying, because I think Ben is totally on track here. MVNOs are good business for the big cell service providers, because MVNOs buy really big blocks of data and time from the carriers. This is how a lot of infrastructure growth happens. It's that cash infusion that comes from MVNOs. So
all the users and none of the work.
Right. Yeah, really. That's how it plays out. So if I were T-Mobile, what I would do as the company acquiring Mint and what's the other one? Ultra
Mobile.
Yeah.
What I would do is have them as my wholly owned subsidiaries, but operate them as independent companies. So they're still buying the same thing that they were buying before I owned the companies. And so the smaller companies, the MVNOs, they're still responsible for everything that they've been responsible for before. They just have deeper pockets backing them up, and the carriers, in this case T-Mobile, they get to reap the rewards that they already have had, but they also own those companies.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. I'll add one.
Oh, go ahead.
Please.
We have all heard of this mythical Apple subscription model.
Like for all their products. Yeah.
Yes.
We've talked about that a few times.
If that goes through, one would think Samsung and Google would follow suit at some point. At that point, having these large corporate stores that are selling phones becomes a lot less of a sales point for those companies, and the excuse me, the customers are more likely in that case to have to go to a MVNO.
Yep.
I mean, T-Mobile, for all their faults, has been typically ahead of the curve on trends.
That's true.
Yeah.
I give you that.
Okay.
Including letting the internet have all my data. The real question about all of them is, are they going to continue with the awesome marketing, like the Christmas card they sent me, Christmas 2021, Mint Mobile, that was, you've heard of Elf on a Shelf, get ready for Ryan on an Island.
Yeah.
See, what I was thinking is Deadpool and Scrooge McDuck's pool of money.
Well,
yep.
Ryan on an Island sits right next to my Funko Pop of Deadpool and a unicorn. So there you go.
That doesn't rhyme.
I know. It does not rhyme.
But it still looks good.
That doesn't mean it's still not Deadpool and a unicorn, which is still pretty amazing in its own right.
Yeah,
and he has a little bobbly head.
Yeah. It is maximum effort.
Right. Let's
now I want chimichangas. Anybody else want chimichangas? Hi, David. You didn't think we were going to come create mayhem here, did you?
It's okay. I'm going to move on because I'm going to say two words: Ted Lasso. It's here, and it is the first episode hit. Actually, we got to watch it the day before. It was like late on the 14th. It premiered on March 15th. Lots of press about it so far. And Kelly, are you going to be doing your show like you did last time?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. Football is life over at the Incomparable. I don't remember which ones I set up. We put up the scheduling poll, and I just checked. I will be available for all of these things. Let me talk about Ted
Yeah.
So I know I'm on at least one of them coming up. I don't remember which one it is, but I'm very excited about it. I'm super happy with the first episode. Yeah. I wish we'd gotten to it once because I figure we're going to shift gears and move to a different part of the story for a minute. And I want to get back to what happened in the first episode. I'm trying to be really vague here. Because I figure the second episode is going to is going to kind of go check out another part of what's going on. And then we're going to get back to some of the other stuff. And I am very anxious to see what all of that is. This is a hard show to watch sometimes because I really want to see it immediately right away, but I also don't want it to be over again because everything we've seen about this season is that it is the final season. I'm still going for the Doctor Who sort of, we're going to get some one-off specials down the line with some of these characters, maybe a spin-off. I mean, I'd watch Roy Kent read a Chinese menu for half an hour and swear at it. That would be amazing. So, especially if he does it with Muppets.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's the character I do?
Kelly, I was playing to my audience with that comment.
Yeah.
I knew you were. He appeared on an episode of Sesame Street, and the title of the video where he talks with Cookie Monster is Brett Goldstein shares the F word on Sesame Street. Which is, of course, friendship, you guys.
Friendship. That's right. That's what it stands for. So yeah, third season's here. Again, you got Nate the Great as the enemy. So that's going to be an interesting way that develops. And check it out. Make sure you're tuning in, and you definitely have to hear what Kelly and Jason Snell and all the folks at the Comp will talk about it. That's a Football Life. That's going to be good.
You can check it out at a URL that you see multiple times in Ted Lasso, which is why it is hilarious to
Jason
me that
grabbed that.
Nobody owned it. Veranisports.co.uk is where you can find Football is Life.
I'm surprised they haven't contacted Jason about that.
I know. It's not like they don't have his number. That's why it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
The thing about Ted Lasso that baffles me is, by the way, this is unofficial merch that I'm sporting here. I can't buy a Ted Lasso Apple Watch band. I can't buy, they haven't released a watch face. If you want something that you can put on your watch or on your phone that is very beautiful, and I'm going to advertise something else here. Icon Factory has a Patreon account.
I knew you were going there.
That's because it's been, where's my work phone? It has been the wallpaper on my work phone since the second it came out. Because when you have a red iPhone, obviously Richmond FC wallpaper looks really nice on it. And you can check that out. That's one of their free things that they put out that just, to make the world a better place. But they do have a Patreon you can subscribe to and get Mac wallpaper and other iPhone wallpaper and stuff that's really awesome. And you should totally do that because it's not like they're making that mad Twitterific money anymore. So definitely go check them out because it's super great. I'm still baffled by the lack of merch, of official merch. I know Nike's making $100 jerseys now or something, and you can get some okay stuff from the WB store, but there's not like I said, a Ted Lasso, a Richmond FC watch band. Why is that not a thing? Come on.
Licensing, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who. I mean, Apple has the distribution rights.
Yeah.
But they're not the studio who makes the show.
Yeah, right? I know. So it's probably Warner Brothers.
Yeah. Warner,
they do have an official shop.
Warner Brothers may have the merch thing.
Warner Brothers does have an official shop for it. So.
Yeah, but there's no watch band there either. Come on, Apple.
No watch band.
Get on the step.
Just all the other stuff. Both of you guys have watched the first episode?
Repeatedly.
Nope. Well, I figure you had.
I really enjoyed it. Sadly, I haven't had the ability to work my schedule the way Kelly has. I've only seen it once.
I've only seen it once too. So I knew Kelly would see it at least 5 times. So.
I'm only at 2. Because I was still rewatching season 2 because I didn't know they were going to give it to us Tuesday instead of Wednesday.
There you go.
That's a really nice way to make sure the Mandalorian doesn't step on your premiere.
That is true. Don't want that to happen. So go see it. Let's go ahead and move on. A few ChatGPT stories. I got this. You shared this in our Slack group and Max Voices about Anthropic launched Claude, a chat to rival OpenAI, ChatGPT. Jeff, what is this? What is this going to be as a variation of what ChatGPT is currently?
Well, okay, so this is an AI tool that's designed, unlike ChatGPT, which is just doing the whole let me scrape stuff and spew it out to you as if I created it. If I'm remembering correctly, Claude is an AI platform that's specifically targeted towards businesses so that they can have a way to handle like customer communication things that supplements what humans do. So this is less likely to be the thing where you feed it some weird prompt and then it spits out like misogynistic limericks or something. I mean, I say that in jest, but now that I say it, I'm afraid someone has probably figured out how to get ChatGPT to do that. Yeah. So when I'm looking at what's going on with this, what I'm seeing is we're entering that phase where the general public is becoming more aware of AI technologies than they were before, because this is not, well, AI technologies in the enterprise business space. This is not new technology. Yeah. It's being used in those places in ways that most people wouldn't equate with what they think AI is. It's more of a tool that can watch for and find relationships between data and other resources that humans would otherwise miss, and it can do it substantially faster. And then, based on what it learns, then it can react in different ways. For example, one place you're seeing AI being used a lot effectively is in online security for like cloud services. Yeah. And but the other side of it is the bad guys are using it too. So there's this really interesting. I'm going totally off topic. There's this really interesting war, if you will, going on between AIs. The black hat and the white hat AIs are fighting each other to attack and steal data and to protect data. Anyhow, so Claude brings that a little more public facing because it's designed, as I recall, to do the whole thing with more efficiently interacting and helping without being ChatGPT.
Nice. And then this was interesting. Carrot, our favorite weather app, decided to this latest update. They added a actual OpenAI ChatGPT integrated into the app, so you can actually go in and you can use profanity in your interactions with the bot and get you get 5 messages for free. I guess they're going to add it to the tip jar. This is kind of fun. I don't know if you've tried this yet, Jeff, but it's.
I have not.
I didn't. The update just came through. Mine wasn't even updated yet, so.
I'm just seeing people post screenshots of their interactions with it, and every one of them is exactly what you imagine Carrot would sound like. So it's just been really kind of impressive to see what people are showing. Like, this is what I asked, and that's exactly what I expect Carrot would say.
Yeah, all I can say, meatbags, is if any app was designed for ChatGPT, it would be Carrot Weather.
Yeah, for sure.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Because the more neurotic it gets, the better it is for the app.
Yeah, that's totally on brand. Yeah. My favorite Carrot ChatGPT interaction, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who posted this, but they asked ChatGPT and Carrot to tell them what they would do if they were on a bus that had to go 50 miles an hour, And if it dropped below that, it would explode. And ChatGPT and Carrot came back and said, "Yeah, not on the bus, but we can hang out and have drinks and watch it explode." And then the response to that was, "Okay, yeah, but you're actually on the bus." And then it comes back with, "Just cut the wires. How complicated can this really be?"
Yeah. We love Carrot. That's our favorite app.
Delightful.
It's always fun. Last story this week: iPhone 14 and 14 Plus now we talked last week. The yellow color came out. Well, it went up for sale this past week on the Tuesday, the 14th, and I just checked, and yeah, it's in stock. You don't have to worry about getting any one of those off and being out of stock here. So the pickup and store pickup and shipping is all available for your fine yellow.
Can I tie this back to an earlier news story?
Sure.
Someone needs to make a clear case for the yellow iPhone, and on the clear case, printed in blue letters, it says "Believe."
There you go.
How is
Ted
this
Lasso.
thing already? Yeah.
Got to do it.
I have a Cricket and a 50% off coupon at Michael's.
See?
Yeah.
I got to go.
Yeah. Or you can make a yellow iPhone case that is shaped, that has the outline of a peep on it. So it can go in everyone's kids' Easter baskets.
I wouldn't turn down an iPhone 14 in an Easter basket.
No, I don't think any of us would.
I'd start celebrating Easter if there was going to be a new iPhone in a basket for me.
An iPhone option, yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the topics this week. Apple did release the 4th developer beta and public beta of 16.4 for iOS and iPadOS, and watchOS is 9.4. Still pretty much the same as we've been talking about the last few weeks. There really hasn't changed much other than some build changes and bug fixes and all that stuff. I don't know, Ben, if you do you run beta? I don't think you do.
Oh, yes, I do.
You do.
All my devices.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I think
all right.
so.
I have to, as I'm getting to know you better, I guess I'll know that from going forward, that you are the
Ben
beta
lives
guy.
life on the edge.
You lived that edge.
Yes, I do.
So what's your experiencing so far with this latest version?
Incredibly stable, which is not surprising since it ends with an A.
Okay.
We're going to see that RC, the RC pretty
release.
soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that question too. Is when is 16.4 going to be out? Because it's 4th beta right now, and this is probably going to be one of the last versions before we get to dub later this year. So that's interesting to know. Jeff, you tried it on your iPad?
I've had time to install it on my iPad, and it didn't explode. So that's always a good sign. But I haven't had a chance to actually really test anything yet. Right.
Oh, which makes sense. So yeah, I guess the question is, when is it going to get released? I can see it happening. We got an article here in the show notes from Mac Rumors here. Kind of looking at the last betas. The RC for 16.3 was in 2 betas, so we're in 4 with 16.4. So obviously there's a little more testing going on here. So
I feel like I can see it from here, and I don't even have to stand on tiptoe, and I'm not tall. So
yeah,
that's true.
1 to 2 weeks tops.
Yeah, I think it's going to be out next couple weeks. So, another interesting topic.
Here's my prediction.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
It's going to come out at the end of the month, and then everyone is going to start saying, "And that's it. Now we just wait for WWDC, and that'll be the next time we get something." And there's going to be another update that drops before WWDC.
Has to. It's 3 months.
And there will be at least one more after WWDC, because we don't actually get the next version of iOS until September-ish.
September usually.
September, October. Yeah. Yeah. But everybody's got dub fever right now. So, I mean, that's what everybody's looking at anyway. At this point, iOS 16 is almost old news,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone done a video where they get people at WWDC to dance, and they call it a dubstep?
No.
How is this not a thing?
Oh my gosh.
Jeff, we have a new mission.
Yeah, we do.
Let's talk about this next topic here. This was an interesting story this week. Joanna Stern, Wall Street Journal. She always has some great stuff. She talks about. She did an article and video of why Apple and the carriers want your old iPhone. And she went actually into this warehouse and showing these hundreds of thousands of mostly iPhones that show up from the trade-ins that the carriers take in. So they gave a good example. Let's say it's like a iPhone 11 traded in, they'll give you like about $200, and then they'll turn around. They have this process where they clean the phones, they test them vigorously and make sure that they're working. And they showed it in the video, and then they turn around and sell it for $350. So they're making a bit of profit. But they even said, though, there is the risk that you take when you collect all these phones and buy them from the carriers, because some of those phones may not be as good. You might have a weak battery that they'll have to replace the battery, and then they end up taking a bit of a loss on it. So found this to be very interesting. And this is a $1 million dollar business. They say over 282 million secondhand smartphones have shipped in 2022. That's astonishing as far as numbers go.
Of phones.
And this warehouse is enormous, and they get pallets upon pallets of iPhones. And it's definitely interesting to see. This company's called USMP. They're the trade company that takes these iPhones from the carriers. And Kelly, what do you think of this? This is something that it's a huge business now. I think that's why these carriers want to do it.
I'm glad of it because a lot of people will upgrade regularly or upgrade and I got a new phone, so someone else in my family gets my slightly older phone, and then that phone, and you sort of waterfall down. Like, it's a common thing a lot of people do, and so I'm happy to see that they're not just going in a landfill or just like sitting in a warehouse somewhere collecting dust or whatever. And so I'm really glad to see that some of them are getting a second or sometimes a third life, depending on, where the phone came from. And it was really interesting to see. Honestly, I wish that they had done this sooner because, Apple's been banging the recycling drum a lot longer than a lot of other companies have. So it's one of the things that I feel like they should get legitimate credit for is being able to show this off. And it's a little bit of a PR move. Like, come Joanna Stern, who normally makes videos that lots of people watch, come make a video about this thing that we do that, we pat ourselves on the back for, that not a lot of people know about. But I also really like that I like that it shines the light on secondhand phones, because not everybody needs a new one for something. Not everybody has the need for a 48 megapixel camera. Not everybody has a need for the correct shade of purple or, that much screen or whatever. And so, if you're a person where the point of what you're doing is, phone calls, maybe texting, yes, phone calls, ask your parents, maybe you don't need, maybe, that secondhand 11 or that secondhand, 12, like, or 10, has a good home and is going to be able to sort of maximize the lifespan on that technology. And I think that's a thing a lot of technology should have a light shined on. And what else can you do with it besides stick it in a drawer and wait for it to not be useful to anybody before it goes away? So I was really happy to see it.
Yeah. Ben, you hold on to you're on your iPhone 12. You're happy with it.
Oh, yes.
And
before I was one of those guys who upgraded every year when we weren't using desktop cores in a phone.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, the cell phone market has come to resemble the car market in a lot of ways. You will definitely have these people who now pay top dollar for something that is brand new. But as stuff gets more expensive, and quite frankly, the mid-range phones aren't all that good, you're going to see that market for those, excuse me, my voice isn't working today.
Oh.
But you'll see a market for used, and I do think you'll eventually see Apple certified phones.
Yeah.
Well, and we've seen it before, and I think we've probably talked about it here, like the maturity of the platform, the change between a 12 and a 13, a 13 and a 14. They're not as dramatic as they used to be. I mean, we all remember when you first got a phone that could take a picture, and now that phone can take video. Like that was a huge change. I can buy stuff with my phone. That's a huge change. I can unlock it with my thumb is a huge change. And those huge fundamental ways that we interact with that device, additions, are not what they used to be. I mean, the big thing in the 14 is like emergency SOS, which is awesome, but is not a thing I'm using every day. It's not a thing. I mean, there may be people who are, but I feel like those people have a larger problem to solve than having gotten a new phone. But
I mean,
like the big thing that comes with that is not something that changes how I interact with it every single time I interact with it every day. And that's a very, very, very different situation than 3GS to 4 to 4S when we got the assistant and voice assistant, that kind of thing. Like a lot of that stuff. I think, Ben, we used to talk about this on the 2 Talkcast. Like it's sort of turning into the microwave, like there's not the revolution in that technology is not a revolution for everybody. Having a 48 megapixel camera in your pocket is amazing, but for most people's eyeballs, they're not going to notice the difference between that and the mere mortal camera they got if they only got the regular $1,000 14 Apple, iPhone 14. So the differences that come with the leaps forward in technology, and as the technology has evolved, like a lot of that stuff has like a lot of those leaps are not as large as they used to be. They're a lot smaller. So keeping a phone for 3 years now, like I'm still on my 12 Pro, which I love, like I'm not sad about it. Like I'm glad I stuck to that one. I got 5G by pulling the trigger on the 12. So, at some point when they upgrade cellular service in my area, maybe now that T-Mobile bought it, maybe they'll invest some of that. Maybe Mint will invest some money in infrastructure, and maybe I'll have better 5G where I live. But aside from that, there's not a dramatic difference between my 12 and Mr. Kelly's 14. Like in photography, yes, but like in how I use my phone, there's not.
Yeah.
I mean,
let me go ahead and to acknowledge everybody in the chat room, which I have not been meaning to ignore. That's youtube.com/intouchwithios. Guy Cyril's in the chat, and he said reuse, recycle, and keep your phone for at least 3 years. I would agree with him on that with this topic. And hello to Web Bixby. Thanks for being in the chat as well. So let's get Jeff in here. Jeff, I know you have thoughts on this.
Hold on, which topic were we on? Because I was reading. Okay, so.
Wait, what were you reading? Should I have been reading instead of?
No, I was reading about
why my
iPhone
iPhone 12 is opposite. Okay.
We went the old phones, the trade-ins,
the old trade-ins, right?
Sorry about that.
No, that's right.
Rocking the old phone. That's what we're talking about.
Rocking the old phone. So my thing has always been, if you're going to buy a used iPhone, you buy it from Apple. And I didn't realize until this Joanna Stern piece just how huge that market is for the used iPhones, well, and smartphones in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, if this is keeping phones useful longer, then great. And like Ben and Kelly, I'm still rocking an iPhone 12 Pro, and I'm very happy with it. This fall, when a 15 comes out, maybe I'll end up getting that, or maybe not. It just depends on what features are there. Kelly hit on a very important thing, which is we don't have those fundamental changes that radically alter how we use the device. I think we're kind of beyond that now. So It needs to be something special. Or I'm just ready for it. Actually, something special can be my phone's old enough, my battery is bad enough that I might as well just buy a new one and let someone else deal with replacing the battery. Anyhow, this is cool.
Ben, you'll have the last word on this topic. Did you have a thought?
I mean, I think we've gotten to the point where we're so mature, not on this panel.
Well, maybe you are,
but we're so mature as a platform.
Okay.
That
one.
I mean, I think we're almost at a Mac/iPad upgrade cycle on these phones. And carriers and phone makers do have to find another way to make a buck.
Well, and I think part of that, like, that's part of why I think the watch is so interesting, is because there's still so much room to do more there and be interesting there and do something revolutionary there. So like for me, the thing that I watch really closely every year is the watch stuff and what the new watch looks like, because it's a much smaller investment. If I decide I want the latest and greatest, it's literally a third of what, because I'm never buying like a high-end model. Yeah. So like it's a third of a new phone and I can still get a new treat, and I like to have some new, I like a treat every now and again, and if it charges over USB, so much the better. Mm-hmm. So that's part of why the watch stuff is so interesting to me, because we have kind of hit the limit on, what's awesome that you can do with your phone. So show me what's awesome I can do with my watch.
Yeah. Well, one last word on the chat. Webb made a comment here. I feel like it's my duty to help supply the used iPhone market, because yes, he buys 2 new iPhones every year. So yes, you do contribute it quite well, Webb.
Doing the Lord's work,
good
Webb.
Man.
He is. I do as well, because I trade it every year. So I'm just like him. So.
I'm screwing up capitalism because I used to get a new phone every year because I needed to as part of my job, and now I don't need to, and I can't justify replacing it.
It's kind of part of my job, since I'm in touch with iOS.
It's totally part of your job.
Yeah, it's absolutely part of your job. Yeah, Jeff and I are like, 12's fine.
Yeah, 12's fine. And then when I get my next phone, I will hand down my 12. And which means there's no money transaction happening.
Yeah.
I'm a bad capitalist.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jeff has been reading ahead on this next topic, so let's go ahead and get to it here. The Apple App Store stories. I always forgot about how great they are, because when you open up the App Store, when you go in for the first time in that day, it always has a story of specifics that are something about apps or games, and the developers that are featured on this are in the App Store by Apple, and they want to be able to showcase what they have to offer with their products. And there's different aspects of the app or the game or the people behind them, and that's what's great about this story. It can include interviews with developers, behind the scenes stuff with the creation, all kinds of fun stuff that you can find out about it. When you go to the App Store, that's the first thing you're going to see. So I put a link in the show notes of 3 of the stories I found that were kind of interesting. The first one is your work from home toolkit. And this is interesting to see how they go through and tell you, okay, collaborating with colleagues, and then you have a whole list of stuff. And so not only do you have the Microsoft Office products, you also have the Apple iWork products and OneDrive, Keynote, Quip, and Spark for email. So you have a way of they kind of group all these apps in one place, and based on this particular topic, with coworkers, you have Slack and Flock and all their other apps here. So you have that, and then match your schedule. I know we have a few of you here who use Fantastic Cal, that's in there, and a few others, and working more efficiently, including Moom and 1Password, Pastebot. I know, Jeff, you use most of those apps. But then staying in the know, RSS readers like Newsbar and Reader 5, which is one of the better news readers. So this is great. I mean, in fact, Hand Mirror, which I featured as a cool thing last week on Mac on the Mac show, it allows you to be able to clear yourself up and look at yourself in the mirror of your webcam before you go live on your media of choice here. So this is just kind of a neat thing, the way they group all these things. Kelly, you think this is something interesting? I really like this. I think this is something that's cool that Apple does.
I love app stories for a couple of reasons. And one of them feels like it's two-sided, which is discovery. Like part of the reason there are app store stories is because some of these things don't surface if A, you're not listening to us sit here and tell you about the apps that we love, or B, like if you just go search for something, there's an excellent chance that this awesome app built by this interesting person is never going to show up for you, especially not their ads atop the app store. The windmill I'm going to continue to tilt at is that Apple still lists TikTok as an iPhone essential, and I disagree, and it irks me, and I wish they would knock it off, because that's part of why people look at it and go, oh, well, Apple says it's an essential, so I better download it and handle my data to the Chinese government or not. We don't know. So that's the part that I find irksome about all of these, is just that one thing. But the App Store stories are great. Like I love, particularly, I mean, full disclosure, I do know people who are developers, and I do know people who get featured in the App Store occasionally. And so it's always exciting when it's someone I know. But I also like discovering different apps that can be useful, because like my day job is IT. And so I talk to a lot of people who want app recommendations. I'm like, family tech support too. So, and I talk to a lot of people who also use iPhones and want to be able to do certain things better. And we'll ask, like, what do you use for a shopping list app? What do you use for your calendar? What do you use for this or that or whatever? And it's really nice to have a couple of options for people who don't necessarily, who aren't people who spend all their time reading app store stories. So I really like them, and I'm glad to see that they do highlight people, especially like they're highlighting a lot of female developers right now because it's Women's History Month, and they featured a lot of Black App Store developers during Black History Month. So I like seeing that they're paying a little bit of attention, but it's also interesting to read some of the stories about this is what inspired me to make this app. This is why I thought I needed it, or I built it for myself and thought it would be fun. Or, you're James Thompson and you go, well, Apple made a new thing, so I need to be able to put pcalc on it. So here we are. Hi, James. So I think they're really interesting. And I do go to the App Store regularly because I am one of those people who updates by hand, because I like to go, wait, I installed what now? Let's delete that. That's why I like to run the updates myself. So I hit the App Store almost every day and check them out and see what the new app story is. And I also like to go look at the little lists of things and see how many of the ones in there say get and how many of them say open, because I like to know which ones I'm actually running. So I think they're useful, and I don't think they address the larger issue of being able to discover things in the App Store, but I definitely think that they help.
Okay, Jeff, did your chance here? You did some homework beforehand. You read ahead, so
I read ahead because the bottom line is that I do like to see which apps they're highlighting that have a little get button, and which have I already have. Anyhow, like Kelly, I am a big fan of app stories because it is a good discovery tool. And it's also fun when you see developers that featured in app stories. And even though we are all deep in this and we're following along and watching all of the new apps that are coming out, there's just no way to stay on top of everything. So invariably there will be something that I'll see in one of the stories articles that I check out that I didn't know about, and is something that's useful to me. So I really do enjoy that. App stories for Mac OS, is that really a thing? Because I never see that in the App Store app on my Mac. I only see it on iPhone and iPad.
They just added them recently.
If the only time you ever open the App Store is when you get the notification that says that you have updates, and then you click on that, it takes you straight to updates, so you never see them.
Oh, well, there's that. Yeah. Okay.
Because I was realizing, I see them on my phone and on my iPad all the time, but I never look on my computer.
I scrolled down and oh my God, it's all like featured game. But there was one story mixed in.
Yeah.
Anyhow, yeah, okay, so they're there. It's just like stupid hard to find.
I kind of want the iOS App Store people to like walk down the hall and tell the Mac App Store people that these are useful and fun and people really like them.
Yeah.
And you should spend a little more time than just the game on your computer. Because seriously, no.
And Apple just recently put these links in place so you can actually view them on a Mac versus on the web. So, Ben, you and I kind of sports fans. You got the NCAA tournament going on. That's what Apple does with the App Store. Is they're highlighting what's popular, and that is obviously very popular right now. People are watching the games as we record this. So, so you go to the story today, and so all the apps you could ever think of as far as how to watch the games, and of course they have a dedicated app for it too. So,
Jeff, that's college basketball. They're talking
college basketball, yes, men's college basketball, women's too. So
basketball and men's basketball.
Yeah, there you go. Something that you look at from time to time, Ben.
I used to, not so much anymore because, well, quite frankly, I have way too many apps after after over a decade.
I think we all do.
There is that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah. I see a lot of clouds.
I've kind of gotten. I've kind of pro-usered myself out of these, but for beginning people, maybe there are still people who are getting their first iPhones or people coming over from Android. These are very good lists to help people get going.
Absolutely. So,
yeah, I need the opposite list. I need the list of how to pare down all the apps on my iPhone.
This is a thing I have wanted for so long, which is like a little dot next to it. You know how sometimes you get the little indicator, like you've downloaded it but haven't opened it yet or something. I want there to be a little indicator that's like this app has not been launched or utilized in the background in a month or 2 or 3, and I should be able to go look and be like,
I know they have that option. You can set it to offload.
6 months. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's a different thing.
Yeah,
that's not the same as you haven't even opened this thing in 3 months, Kelly. What are you even doing here? So I would like if that was just a visual indicator. I mean, look, I'm trying to be generous. So I just would like if there was an indicator as I scroll by that page of apps every time, because I'm never launching anything there, to be like, wait a minute, like it's got a green dot next to it. Maybe I need to take a second look. That's part of why I update by hand, because I like to go, wait, I don't even know what that is, or I haven't used that in forever, but I would like there to be a better indicator of like, you also, you update it all the time, but you haven't opened it since 2022. Get with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Be really nice.
Let's move on to, I think, well, I know, Jeff, you don't use Apple Notes. That's not your note-taking app.
I am not an Apple Notes person.
What do you use instead?
It depends on the context. So it could be Tot. It could be OmniFocus. It could be Ulysses. It all depends.
Yeah. Okay. Do you use Notes at all, Ben? Apple Notes?
I do for like regular day-to-day notes. Like I need to write down this number, or I need to make a grocery shopping list. If there's anything more collaborative, I typically still go with Evernote. If there's anything more, you need something more out of it, I typically go with Notability.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I use Notability a lot too.
Yep.
Instead of Evernote, I use OneNote.
Yep. I'm using OneNote for work.
Kind of like getting to this article.
Kelly, it's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah.
It's actually a really good app.
It is.
I'm not judging. I'm just confused.
What note-taking app do you use, Kelly?
Notes.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I use Notability for some things because I have a PDF planner that I bought that I mark up every day with, whatever I'm doing and that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I use Notes a lot. And part of it is because I got really tired of Evernote not doing what I wanted it to do or what I needed it to do. And then to add insult to injury, Now it will do that, but you have to pay more than you're paying now. And so I bailed on Evernote because I just got mad at them continuing to want more money out of me to do basic things. I didn't feel like any of the things that they were charging money for were things that were necessarily fancy or specialized or power usery. Like that was it. So I was just sort of grumpy about it. So I gave up. So I use Notes for a lot of stuff. It is my primary information store for my day job because I can sync it to the work phone that has the Richmond FC wallpaper on it. And because I really love that wallpaper, you guys. And my computer. And then if I ever need something, I have it at my fingertips. And search has gotten better. And the way it integrates with Mac OS and with iOS and makes it easy to get to and easy to retrieve any of the stuff that I put there is super important, because especially if I'm at work and I'm trying to find the thing that I wrote down that time, like I need it immediately. And so spending a bunch of time having to track it down is not generally an option. And Notes has gotten way better about that.
Well, I have an article here in the topic here from Make Use Of. I found it interesting. They're saying five reasons why you shouldn't use Notes. So the first one they say is limited formatting and customization. I mean, I think you got some good, decent customizations, but how really major creative do you have to get in a note? Just get it the way you'd like it.
I'm taking umbrage with that first. I haven't even looked at the rest of the list. Yeah. So my guess is I will take umbrage with more things, and I totally interrupted and cut you off, and I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Limited formatting and customization. This is not Word. This is not Pages. This is a fracking note-taking
That's what I just said.
But also
it's a note app.
You can do it in Markdown, and it works itself out. And the thing I don't like about it is so dumb, which is I want to change the highlight color. I hate that it's yellow, but but because it does all the rest of the stuff, like if I need sections, I can have sections. It'll do a list. If I need a checklist or a numbered list, it's easy. Even on my phone, it's a couple more taps than it is on my computer, but it's always a couple more taps to rejigger text on your phone than it is on your Mac. So I take umbrage with that also, because it does the basics. If you need more than that and you're trying to do it in Notes, then you need to solve a larger problem.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go through all these steps, but the one other one that caught my eye was here. Apple Notes has no template option. Why would you need a template in a note-taking app? I mean, really?
I understand that.
I mean, OneNote maybe I think is a more advanced version if you're really looking for that.
But I have templates in Notes. I made a note and it's empty. It's got the format, the things I want, because I have a meeting notes template in Notes, but I have a folder in Notes called templates. So what I do is I go in there and I go, okay, I'm about to have a meeting, and I go duplicate that template one, and I move the copy into the folder it needs to go in and move on with my life. So I don't know what he's talking about, how there's no big button that says templates that you go use, but like most apps don't have that. So again, if that's the thing you need, then dude.
And you were just talking about Markdown support. I mean, it does some Markdown. I mean, it's not going to be a BB edit, but
but only BB edit's BB edit.
Right. Yeah, and it doesn't suck.
It does not suck.
Exactly.
Dave, I have scanned through the entire list.
Okay.
I am taking umbrage with every point on the list, including the conclusion.
Me too.
I'm not a Notes user.
Yeah.
Notes is a good app, and and for what it's designed to do, it does it very well. It's just not the right app for what I need to do.
Right.
That doesn't diminish its value. Right. And then wrapping up by saying that you should look for other options, but then not even bothering to tell you what some of those options are and why you might want them. Come on.
If you want,
that's why I thought this was a good conversation about this. I was like,
there's a brief mention of like, if you really need that, you can go use Notion for it or something. And that's the only time that there's anything. And it also says some alternative apps like Evernote have this feature. That's true. But like you have to pay for Evernote to get that. I'm sure of it. If all you need in life is Markdown, you shouldn't be using Notes in the first place, because there are other things that will sync all of your Markdown files to all of your Apple things. There's like a bajillion of them. Hi, Brett Terpstra. I feel like I've said Markdown 3 times, so now I have to say hi to Brett. And
it's the law.
It is. It's the law. I'm with Jeff on this one. Like, there's shenanigans in every single one of these points, because even if you like I said, Apple Notes has no template option. Yes, it does. You make a folder and you call it templates, and you just don't edit the one that's in there, and you do the thing. Like, it's not like it's hard. I've done it on my phone, which is like the hardest way to do anything in most Apple apps, and it's not hard. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think somebody maybe had a bad iCloud sync and it ate all his notes, and now he has a hate on for it. And so that's where this article came from. Like, I feel like
so you can go iCloud on the web. You can access your notes from there. I mean, come on.
This dude needs a hug and a cookie. And, you know, and like, you know, if you tried Apple Notes years ago, it sucked. It sucked rocks. I'm the first person to tell you it's did not used to be an attractive option. It's way better. Because I think you guys will have to check me on this, but I think they like overhauled it the same time they overhauled reminders. But all they did was tell everybody that reminders was the amazing thing. And so nobody knew that Notes got a lot more awesome at the same time. Because reminders has like subtasks and all kinds of other tags and smart lists, all kinds of cool stuff you can do in it now. And they redid Notes at the same time to make it a lot better and a lot more useful. And the collaboration is nice now. If you share with somebody, it's very easy to have a group note where people do lots of things. I have planned multiple events with people with shared notes as the only means of setting everything up and making decisions. And it's great. And you can have a checklist in the middle. You can put a picture of a thing. All of that. It's super great. And it's super easy to use with all the other stuff that you have on your phone. You take a picture with your camera, you send it to Notes, you're done. You know, like if you go document scan, it uses Notes for the document scanning. It's super great. So yeah, I don't get why somebody's mad about this, because I would write an article that's like 5 reasons why Notes is amazing. And if you need something lightweight, this is what you should be doing.
Yep.
I mean, this is your typical, this doesn't work for me, so it shouldn't work for anybody type of article.
Yeah.
Not for me isn't the same as not for everybody.
No. Yeah. So I'm glad I picked this. I knew I would get some lively conversation on it. So
you just wanted to push our buttons.
No,
You're lucky that you don't have to edit, because I had some very creative things to say about that article.
Thank you.
Words, I like to call them words my mom doesn't think I know.
Yeah. One more topic, and just a couple tips here. Apple did announce that you now have a Shop with Specialist or video feature that's now available for buying an iPhone. So this past week, they did announce this on the company's online store. So when you go shop the iPhone page, you'll actually be able to have the choice of having an actual video. It's a one-way video. They don't see you. I guess you see them. And be able to have that have a bit of a session there instead of going into the store, and they can help you. They can help you with that. So I thought it was kind of cool.
Cool. Now do a Mac.
Yeah, I would bet that they'll
start somewhere.
They have to start with iPhone, and I bet they'll expand.
To be fair, they should have started this in 2020 and
exactly.
had the Mac added in long ago. That said, this is great. I'm glad they're doing this. There's a lot of people, for a wide range of reasons, that can't actually go to an Apple store.
Too far.
And they need Apple help and not the afternoon part-time worker at Best Buy. Not to disparage anyone that's working part-time jobs at Best Buy, but if you've been trained specifically on helping someone with Apple products, and that's what you're looking for, you don't want to run the risk of having someone help you that has been told, this is the product we're pushing today.
Yeah. And the Galaxy Note has the incentive on it this month. So make sure you talk everybody into that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is a good idea.
Yeah, and replace Best Buy employee with any carrier store or other big box employee.
Right.
Which you're even more aggressive with the incentives. So, yeah.
It's a better experience with Apple.
Yeah. And also getting to compare the different devices within Apple and being able to talk intelligently about the amount of storage or the carrier you have or, all the other kinds of things that go into that kind of stuff. And so it's really nice that they do this. I'm glad they're doing it for the phone. I agree. It should have been sooner, but I feel like the Mac is where that is really going to be useful for a lot of people. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope they expand it out to all kinds of stuff.
So,
Also, one other thing from Apple's point of view, they make more on a retail sale than they do a wholesale sale.
Yep.
It's true.
Now, everybody can go to the Apple Store.
This is true also.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got 2 apps I want to talk about real quick that had some updates. First of all, I've been using this app for years. It's Reincubate, the software company. It's Camo. Camo 2.0 was released this week. Actually, it was yesterday that it came out with a long time planning of some of the things that they added. Now it has support of any webcam that's built in, which is not just the iPhone or a smartphone. So now, because it's been freaking me out when I've been launching Camo and all of a sudden my FaceTime camera on my Mac shows up and I'm like, wait a minute, and my iPhone's there, of course. It also sees my iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is integrated to continuity camera. So it is now supporting continuity camera too. So they got even smarter because everybody thought, that this is going to get Sherlock now that the Apple is doing continuity camera. But no, you got some great effects. Everybody sees here every week, and I have my little, I think it's that way, or that way, one of the directions, with my logo there on there. So you can do overlays and you can do all kinds of adjustments, and you can't do that with continuity camera. It's just on off. I mean, so so they've really done some great improvements with that. They've enhanced the support with Apple Silicon on the Camo app on the Mac, and the app on the iPhone is working really great too. Bravo, and they've now got full compatibility with Teams and Zoom, Discord, all kinds of other services that do video. So check it out. I think it's well worth it. I think they have a yearly plan. I bought the lifetime plan, so I think I only paid like $79. So I have it for the rest of my life.
Nice.
And I think I'm glad I did that because I've been using it for podcasting ever since. So do you guys use Camo at all?
I have used Camo. I'm currently not using it. But with this new update, I need to revisit that.
Yeah. You two, Ben, use it?
Yeah.
I don't use it, but I'm definitely going to revisit not using it.
Yeah. Well, they got a demo, so you can actually try it out. So you don't have to dive in. So
the subscription is not the subscription isn't breathtakingly expensive or whatever.
You're supporting a good software developer.
Very, very reasonable. And you continually get updates, like not just from 1.0 to 2.0 or whatever. You get like all kinds of smaller things that happen over time. Like, you don't have to have it connected with a wire anymore. It was just kind of a regular update that came out. And there's a lot of other things that have come out that have just continued to make Camo a really good experience for your setup. So yeah, I'm always really happy with it, and I need to get back to putting it back in my regular habit. But what happened was I was using my drawer phone as my webcam, and my drawer phone got redeployed because somebody needed it. So I'm currently Camo-less, but that's probably going to change soon. So
can use any webcam now. So check it out. And other software I want to talk about. It's actually a Mac app, but I think it's well worth it because it kind of has a cool thing they just added. This is Pixelmator Pro. I think it's probably one of the more reasonably priced photo editing tools that are out there, photo software. But they have added some cool new device mock-ups for the latest Mac, iPhone, and iPad in the update. I think that's so cool. And you bring up any of those templates for an iPhone. You pick a picture or whatever you want to put onto the device, and it fits right. And you got it perfect for putting it in advertising or any kind of thing that you do. I thought this was kind of cool with the photographic mock-ups they added in Pixelmator. I need to use this more. I don't use it enough, and I don't pay for. I have no reason to pay for Photoshop. So I think this is such a great alternative. I know, Jeff, do you use Pixelmator?
I do use Pixelmator some. I also use Affinity Photo.
Affinity, that's right.
Yeah, both are installed on my computer right now. Here's the deal. Holy crap. Why didn't this happen sooner?
Yeah.
I mean, I stopped using Creative Cloud years ago because the price for what I needed, it didn't make financial sense.
Right.
So so I moved on to other tools. But I was still using the same sorts of features, and I was having to do the thing where I was creating my own iPhone, iPad, and Mac mockups. And it was, I mean, I did it work, and I knew how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every time new models had come out, I'd end up going and getting the PR images from Apple's site, and then cutting out the parts that I didn't need. So I'd have my own templates. This would have been so wonderful
it's
to
simple.
have.
Click. Yeah. Remove the photo, add the one you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't had a chance yet because
it just came out. So this
just came out. But what I want to do is go in and look at the templates. Can I move them over to Affinity Photo? And then, depending on what I'm doing, determines which app I'm using.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And can I have these in both?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's always hope.
Yeah. Anyhow, very cool.
This is going to save me so much time.
Yeah. And Pixelmator Pro, it's what, $50?
It's like nothing. Yeah. It's hardly anything.
Not a subscription, by the way, for people
one
who
time.
are
I've paid for like once in the last couple of years to get the updates. So
this powered all the images behind AppCam.
You'd still do it?
Oh yeah, I'd be paying them $50 a month if I could, if I had to.
Yeah, it makes it so much.
Which is still cheaper than Creative Cloud.
And you guys are much better with this than I am.
Pixelmator. So. Yeah. I've been using Pixelmator and Pixelmator Pro since I was working as an associate editor at GeekBeat. Mm-hmm. It has made my life so much easier because I have absolutely zero artistic ability, yet I had to make my own thumbnails.
Yeah. Yeah. Pixelmator was one of the things that made it easy for us on iOS when we were doing things at AppCamp to make sure images were the right size and getting things set up easily. Like you could do everything right there in iOS. And so it was great when we were working on development and we could turn the developers loose on it. And, none of them had any problem getting things to do what they needed it to do. So it was great. I'm excited about it because I know a lot of people use it and I know that it's a really solid alternative for people who don't need everything in Photoshop and don't need to pay for everything in Photoshop if that's not what you're using. So I was really excited to see this because it looks really cool. And I know so many people whose lives just got a lot better and are equal parts thrilled that this is a thing and also mad like Jeff that this did not happen sooner because of all the time that other people have spent making their own versions
mocking them their own photos up. So all right, that's and go ahead. Last comment.
I was gonna say the way I use this from modern Apple workflow, I can use that magic select tool in iOS. Continuity paste it over into Pixelmator Pro, and with these, it's going to take me like a minute and a half to do a mock-up thumbnail.
And a minute of that is waiting for the paste to work itself out.
Right.
Yeah.
Processing. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go ahead. Thanks to all of you for being here this week. And that is a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Twitter @intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/intouchwithios. We can watch the show live as well as watch the show recorded, and you can listen to all of our shows on YouTube. You can also visit our magazine on Flipboard at In Touch with iOS magazine. It's many of the topics that we talk about are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, go to our website at intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are there. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Mastodon at DaveG65 at mastodon.cloud. Kelly Guimont, thank you so much for being here this week. Really appreciate it. Where can people find you?
Thanks so much for having me. And I did my best to derail you, and it still didn't work. I will have to try harder next time. You can find me on Mastodon. I'm in the process of moving over to a different server, but for now, you can find me. I am Verso at mastodon.social. And the rest of the time, you can find me over on The Incomparable, talking about a wide variety of different things. I just recorded an episode over there about the first season of The Last of Us. And you can hear me on Football is Life. There is more Football is Life coming. My shows are MCU, I Want My MCU TV, and Greetings from the Uncanny Valley, which is about Westworld. And we're trying to figure out what's going to happen next there. So head on over to Mastodon and tell me and Macedon Melton what it is you want to hear from Greetings from the Uncanny Valley, and we'll see what we can do to accommodate you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Ben Roethig, thank you for being here. I'm looking forward to having you as your continued regular contribution to the show. And where can people find you?
Sitting in the back with me making smart comments.
That too. But you can find me at Ben Roethig on your social media of choice. My permanently interim website, roethigtech.blogspot.com. And usually most Thursdays and Fridays on the British Tech Network.
Great. And last but certainly not least, Jeff Gamet, thank you as always for being here. Where can people find you?
It's always a pleasure and a treat to get to be here. So thank you. Yes. All right. So
get comfy. Get a pen.
Socials. Jay Gamet. Instagram and Mastodon, that's where I'm most active, but I'm Jay Gamet on pretty much everything. Then shows. So most Tuesdays on Chuck Joyner's Mac Voices Live. Then Thursdays, I'm the interim host on The Big Show. And then most Thursday evenings, Dave lets me on In Touch with iOS. Excuse me. Then Fridays, I'm the interim host on The Mac Show. And then Brian Chaffin and I do The Context Machine. And then other stuff kind of pops up along the way.
Great. Thanks again. And thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. We enjoyed doing it. And we'll talk again soon.